What is going on, YouTube? Dad with a bike, and it's hot. Traffic's bad. It's Texas. I can't lane split here, so that sucks. But anyway, we're going to take this as a opportunity to go ahead and do a review on these Legend AXEO Suspension I got on the front of this sucker. I have nothing but good things to say. One annoying thing to say, but all in all, it's been pretty good. So stick around and we'll talk about it. Alrighty, y'all. So first and foremost, if you are new to the channel, do me a favor, help me grow the channel, support me, do that subscribe, like, notify thing, and I will be forever indebted to you. Let's dive into this suspension. So a couple of weeks ago, it's probably, I don't know, been maybe 3 weeks now, I've done the install, and since then I've had about 1,000, between 500 and 1,000 miles on the suspension. So I feel like I can talk about the suspension itself pretty well. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get through here. All right. And I have to say, if you're just looking for whether or not you should buy this suspension and do the upgrade on your Scout or Indian Scout bobber, yes. We'll go ahead and answer that real quick, and we'll just say, yeah, you should. It's probably been the best upgrade I've made. I know I say that to a lot of my upgrades, but it's true. It has probably been the best upgrade I've made, primarily because it's completely changed how I'm able to ride this bike. And we'll kind of go into that because what we all know about the Indian Scout bobber and the front suspension on this thing, actually suspension in general, it sucks. And some time ago, at the end of this video, I'll throw that too. I upgraded my rear suspension to the Progressive 444s, and that made the comfort of my ride much better. For long distance, hitting bumps and stuff like that. The rear suspension just kind of soaked it up. But the other thing that was kind of nagging on me was, really whenever I would come to a stop or I would go ride aggressively and I'd grab a handful of my front brake, and the front end would just dive to the point where it almost would bottom out. And as a matter of fact, I'm pretty certain there have been a couple situations where my front suspension did bottom out. And that's not a good feeling when you're riding aggressively and you're really using that front brake to, set your suspension as you dive into a turn. So that's one hell of an uneasy feeling. And I wanted that fixed. I didn't like it. When I would do that and dive into a corner, that would invariably cause my pegs to grind, left, right, prematurely. Because that's what's happening, right? You grab the front brake to load yourself into a corner, and then you dive in. And when you dive in, you're already have your suspension compressed, and then the lean angle is already questionable on the bobber at 29 degrees. So, when you would do that, you would grind the pegs in the corners. And you see a lot of this in the Facebook group. You see a lot of this on some YouTube channels about people dragging peg on Indian Scout bobbers. It ain't the hardest thing to do. It's pretty darn easy. Combination of the crappy front suspension and the lean angle, but you can fix that. And I can honestly say that now that I've gotten this front suspension put on, that happens a whole lot less. Grinding the pegs happens a lot less. That still happens, but I got to push the bike harder to make it happen, which is really what I wanted. So that's good. And what that's caused me to do is to be able to ride corners like I know how to ride them, especially when I get out in real technical twisties. I'm coming up on, like a hairpin, or an elbow curve, I can really load that front suspension and then truly dive into the corner. So that's helped out quite a bit. So for that, I am grateful. The other place that it's helped is actually just generally out riding, especially when you get into long sweepers. So one thing I didn't like about the stock suspension on the Indian Scout Bobber, when you would go through long sweepers, is if there were ripples in the road, you would start to kind of get this wobbly feeling in the front suspension, and invariably you'd start to kind of lose your line. So you really couldn't hammer down and comfortably and happily pour through or drive through a long sweeping turn. And I can truly say that with the change in the suspension, it's made handling sweepers so much more enjoyable. There's the way the front suspension is on this thing now, I can handle ripples, I can handle nastiness in the road, and it doesn't scoot me over, it doesn't shoot me around. So the combination of the front suspension that I have with the Legends, and then the rears, improvements with the Progressive really iron that out for me. So that's been great. And lastly, while we're just sitting here staring at the back of this freaking Chevrolet, just general ride comfort. It is, astronomically better. I don't get the shakes in the hands, the vibrations calm down. I'm not trying to dodge every little bump in the road now. It can take it, and it's fantastic. I truly cannot say enough about how much this has vastly improved my ride quality. I mean, just the compression on the front alone, as you can see, I can't push it and squish it down like I used to. So, riding aggressively, getting out, hitting long sweepers, general ride comfort, all the things that not just the Bobber, but the Scout in general sucked at. This suspension setup now, I think, solves it for me. I could probably go a step further and get Legends in the rear, and it would probably even make it even better. But I'm not going to go buy another set of rear suspension. So let's talk about the thing that I don't like. And it's the annoying piece. This is one of those things that when you set it, the rebound, when you set the rebound on these things, you better forget it, because you have to set the rebound before you install the cartridge into the fork tube. So you kind of got to get it right, because if you don't, in order for you to change it, you're going to have to disassemble your forks, pull the cartridge out of the fork tube, and reset it. And that's not that big of a deal, because this is not a sport bike, so I'm not doing like track tuning and kind of weird crap like that. So the normal tune that you can do for rebound on it is just fine. And I would imagine that you would only have to change it, if you are on the fence like me. I'm 210, so all the gear and stuff like that, I'm going to ride maybe 230, 240 is the total weight that's on the bike. So as long as I don't lose a whole bunch of weight, and as long as my gear doesn't, change a whole lot, I've got mine set at 1, which is good for 200 to 300 pounds. So if I lost a bunch of weight, then, I'd have to disassemble it and reset it down to 0. So be thoughtful when you are setting the suspension rebound on these AXEOs, because, like I said, once you do it, you kind of got to forget it. But all in all, I would say that this was a fantastic modification. Performance, comfort, all the things I want, I was able to get out of this suspension. So I highly recommend them. Anyway, that's really it. That's all I got. And hopefully you all enjoyed it. And, like I said this earlier, if you all did enjoy it, hit that like, subscribe, notify thing. Please help me grow this channel. I'm trying to get this channel to explode, and it's a challenge. Anyway, y'all take it easy. Y'all be good to another oneer. To to one another. And most of all, peace.